You got this white gentleman that wants black people. He mentioned black men in particular. I want you to hear exactly what this man is saying, because I don't know, have he not gotten the email or maybe the memo somewhere? Let's check this out.
Black men, I think we need you. I think America needs you, okay? And I know it's unfair after everything this country's done to you to ask you to save it, but I think you're the only people who can. All this stuff going on with Izzy and Palestine, well, someone's got to stop them. And anybody that says something, anytime you get a white guy or even a Jewish Jew speaking out about it, they hit them with the racist label, anti-Semitic, stuff like that. Black guys, you can do it. White guys, white people, they're not gonna jump on the "you're racist" train to black guys. And even if they do, I mean, come on, you can rubber glue that shit, okay? And I'm not saying we need black guys to come at it like Kanye, but we just need you to speak the fucking truth, okay? That we're allowing this to happen. We're enabling the people that are most known for an extreme act of organized evil happening to them. You know, in World War II,
Black folks are pretty chill right about now because we are the masters of gas trickery and efficiency. We know how to ride 3 days on a fourth of tank. We know how long it takes to get home when the gas light come on. We know when to turn the air off and let the windows down. We know how to pray and say, Lord, if you just let me make it home on these little fumes, I promise I'll get a full tank in the morning. We know not to be parking on no hills. We know you put 5 on 5 just to stay alive. We know not to walk too far away from the pump and end up getting more gas than we really want. We know if we ask for a ride, we got to put something on it. We also know how to keep driving till we find gas prices 2 or 3 cents cheaper than the last 5 stations we pass. And we know not to eat them antique, nasty old peanuts inside the gas station. In other words, we good, Lord. We slick, we want to stay at home and barbecue all day anyway.
Living in America right now feels like a punishment. You wake up already behind, you go to work just to stay broke, and you watch the cost of everything rise while your paycheck doesn't move an inch. Groceries are a luxury, rent is robbery, healthcare is a joke, and somehow we're the ones blamed for not budgeting better. People are working 2-3 jobs and still choosing between food or gas. Families are crammed into apartments because buying a house became a fantasy. You can't afford to get sick. You can't afford to rest. You can't afford to exist. But they keep telling us the economy's strong. Strong for who? Because it sure as hell isn't the people doing the work. We're out here treading water while billionaires build rockets, politicians trade stocks, and corporations raise prices just because they can. We were promised opportunity. We got survival. And what makes this worse is watching people blame themselves. Like somehow you failed because you can't afford a 1-bedroom anymore. Like you didn't do enough, when the truth is the math just stopped adding up years ago. They told us to work harder, but never told us they'd change the finish line. This isn't a country full of lazy people. It's a country full of exhausted ones. Simple as that.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a 1-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, Car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
This one's for the Echo Room family. Thank you for being here, for watching thoughtfully, and for engaging with these conversations without losing your sense of humor or perspective. And as always, full respect and credit to the original creators and stitched clips featured in this video. The voices you are hearing belong to people speaking from their own lived realities, and this space exists to reflect on that, not to take ownership of it. Now let's get back to the rest of the video, and we'll be back for more commentary.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our asses off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
What am I doing wrong? I work every day and I'm still broke. Like, I have a decent job, I make some decent money, but I live out here in Cali. Like, bro, as soon as I get paid, I have all these bills stacked up, bro, that shit wipes me clean. Like, fuck, I got no money left over. Making $100,000 a year doesn't get you anywhere nowadays.
Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking already. I literally have $10 left on my account. So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews. And still nothing. Like, what the f is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
Y'all, I just went today and got my driver's license renewed, my car tags renewed, picked up 2 prescriptions, and got a few groceries. To say that I'm completely broke now is an understatement. So I'm going to have to go home and start selling off my furniture to be able to live the rest of the month. I mean, that's just, it's unbelievable. And my heart hurts today. Truly hurts for people who are not able. And we're living in some rough times, really rough times. And we need to...
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize it.
So he does like a financial breakdown. It just completely makes up numbers and gets numbers completely wrong and leaves out some numbers, actually.
Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes.
That's like significantly below the national average. That's about the average of Arkansas, and that's one of our poorest states.
Rent, $2,000.
Okay, so they make significantly below the national average, but they live in a luxury apartment that costs more than the national average.
Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200.
So this person that makes significantly below the national average and has a luxury apartment also has a very nice car and is paying it off, and it has it financed.
Water bill, $100.
$100 a month in water? What do you have, Poland Springs hooked up to your tap? So he made this entire list trying to prove a point that he didn't buy food for the entire month and he didn't put gas in his car at all for the entire month. Those bills were not factored in at all. The average looks a bit more like this, and this shouldn't be surprising. We rank number 1 in the entire world when it comes to disposable income. Now, there'll be some years where Luxembourg's number 1, there'll be some years where Switzerland's number 1, but for the most part, we are in the top 3. Now, if you're in like your early 20s and you're watching this, like disposable income, and we're at the very top, it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like a world that you live in. And it's unfortunate, and not just the case in the United States, it's throughout the world. Nobody's financially secure in their 20s. You're not at your most financially secure. But by the time you reach your 30s and 40s in the United States, you start to realize that you have it better than most people that are in their 30s and 40s in other countries. But being in your 20s and just trying to live in the United States is a very difficult thing, not gonna lie.
Bro, if I knew how bad the economy was gonna be up to date, I wouldn't have been riding no bikes, playing no video games. I would have bought a house when I was 10. They did a study based on today's economy, like what should minimum wage be based on today's economy to make sure an American is comfortable living a day-to-day life, like with the prices, how the prices is up to date. Bro, do you know how much they say you need to make an hour to be comfortable around this motherfucker? $66 fucking dollars an hour. $66 an hour, bro. Who the fuck making that? That ain't even the kicker. You make $66 an hour. You work 40 hours a week. At the end of the month, guess how much you gonna have in whole? 10 bands. Oh no, but don't think you taking the whole 10 bands. You forgot about Uncle Sam. You're going home with 6,500. Maybe a 7-ball if you lucky. Okay, so eliminate all the bills and life expenses from that 6,500. You left, even motherfuckers who making $66 an hour after paying all their bills and life expenses at the end of the month, they only gonna be able to save a band or two a month. So regular motherfuckers like me and you was just cooked. We po. We just, at this point, we just on the internet seeing who can be po better. Who can be best at being po.
And those black people, we not worrying about no damn food shortage anyways. We know how to make food scratch. Okay? My grandma taught me well. She would cook spaghetti. Okay, you tired of eating regular spaghetti? Spaghetti and garlic bread. She even got some goddamn creative child. She made a spaghetti sandwich. Now, you know you got to be struggling when you eat a spaghetti sandwich. We know how to survive. It's y'all white people. Y'all better learn how to start scratching these goddamn meals out. Just rotate the meals. Change it up. I don't know. Figure it out.
I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make $20-some an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
Americans, I need you to listen close. I'm seeing a lot of people in my comments, as I have for a long time, saying that they don't appreciate the way that Canadians and other people around the world are telling them to do something when they've done everything they can. They've written letters, they've called their Congress people, and they've gone to peaceful protests. And that's just all that they can do, because otherwise, well, he'll enact martial law. And all of the people replying to those comments seem kind of mean when they just say, you need to do something, you're not doing anything. Let me explain here. We are on the public internet, and we cannot be inciting certain things. So we cannot be documenting the things that you need to do, publicly typing out the evidence of what we're saying. So you're just going to have to know that when we say you're not doing anything, that's what we mean. Because you entered into a totalitarian regime last year in May, when your Senate hearings confirmed that they had been killing people in ICE detention. You met all the checklist. So people are dying, and the only way out of a totalitarian regime is a revolution or civil war. And we are not going to detail in the comment sections what you should be doing. But if you don't know what to do, I would highly recommend picking up a history book, doing a Google search, watching a movie, something, because the letter writing portion of this is over now.
Welcome back. There is a moment in this video where a white man looks directly into the camera and with a straight face says something like, Black America is needed, specifically black men, to help fix things, not gently, not quietly, but urgently. Almost like a group text went out and black folks somehow missed the memo. And you can't help but pause and ask, help with what exactly? Because what's fascinating here is not the request itself, it's the timing. The same society that routinely dismisses black voices as too loud, too angry, or too divisive suddenly needs those same voices to step in as moral shock absorbers. To say the things others claim they are not allowed to say, to take the heat, to absorb the backlash, to carry the risk. That's not allyship, that's outsourcing consequences. There is an assumption baked into this call that black people, especially black men, are somehow immune to social penalties. That criticism won't land the same, that accusations won't stick, that history hasn't shown otherwise. And that assumption alone explains why the request feels disconnected. Because Black America knows the cost of speaking truth in a system that rarely protects the speaker. Now, contrast that with another stitched moment in this video, the one that feels like a communal exhale, a woman joking, praying, and narrating the kind of survival math many black households have mastered over generations. Not panic, not hysteria, just skill. Fuel stretching, bills staggered, comfort postponed with precision. There is a satire there, but also deep familiarity. The humor lands because it's rooted in experience. It's not bragging about hardship, it's acknowledging fluency in navigating instability. So when the cost of living spikes and alarms start going off elsewhere, Black America doesn't rush to the microphone in shock. Not because things are fine, but because none of this is new. You see, that's the part that keeps getting misunderstood. Calm does not equal comfort. Silence does not equal approval. Unbothered does not mean unaffected. It often means we've been here before. Another stitch clip breaks the math down plainly, what it actually costs to live comfortably today versus what most people earn. And when you hear those numbers out loud, the joke isn't even funny anymore. It's just arithmetic. You could do everything right, work full-time, earn what used to be considered good money, and still feel one expense away from chaos. That realization is hitting a lot of people hard right now, but for Black America, it's not a revelation, it's recognition. Which brings us back to the original ask, can Black America help save the moment? The quiet answer across this video feels consistent. Help requires trust, and trust requires memory. You don't get to ignore warnings, dismiss lived experiences, and then reappear during crisis expecting guidance on demand. That doesn't mean Black America lacks empathy. It means empathy doesn't require self-sacrifice. There's a reason the tone across these clips isn't rage. It's restraint, it's humor, it's boundary setting, it's people saying in different ways, we are managing our own survival. We are not volunteering as crisis managers for a system that hasn't managed us well. And maybe that's the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath all of this. Black America isn't unbothered because things are easy. Black America is unbothered because resilience was never optional. So when calls go out asking for help, leadership, or moral clarity, the response isn't automatic compliance, it's discernment. Who is asking? Why now? And what happens after? Those questions aren't bitterness, they are wisdom. To the creators whose clips were featured, thank you for articulating these moments with honesty and humor. To the Echo Room Vibes community, thank you for watching, thinking, and holding space for nuance. This channel exists to observe patterns, not inflame them. And if there's one takeaway here, it's this. Black America has always known how to survive authenticity. The real question is whether others are finally ready to listen, not just when things get hard, but before they do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep the conversation grounded. From Echo Room Vibes, peace out.